Every February, people in Canada are invited to participate in Black History Month. Events are organized all over the nation to celebrate the legacy of outstanding Black Canadians. The 2021 theme for Black History Month is "The Future is Now." To give us a perspective on this, we are joined today by Mr. Sam Tita, a local businessman. Please join me in welcoming him to the show.
Well, thank you, Molly, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be with you for this program.
All right. So share with us your thoughts on Black History Month.
Well, Black History Month, it is a time that has been carved out for people of African descent in Canada to be able to participate and celebrate our history and who we are as a people. And for me, it's a great opportunity, but really, Molly, my hope and prayer is that a time comes really soon when we don't need Black History Month, because the way I see it, 12 months of the year is White History Month. Not that that is a bad thing, but it's because being white is normal. And the only reason that there is a need to create a special month so that Black people can celebrate together, not just by ourselves, but together with everybody else, is because we have been, for some time, kept out of the conversation. So during time, it's a safe time where some focus, some light can be shed on the Black experience so that we can inject our stories, our histories into the dominant narrative so that hopefully by the grace of God, someday being Black will be normal, just like white is a normal thing in our society.
Okay, that's a good perspective. And so, and I'm glad that you pointed out that there will be a time, hopefully, when we wouldn't have to do that. But right now, the way things are, it is important to have these conversations because of the historical context that people of African descent who call Canada home have experienced a lot of discrimination in the past. Hopefully, it's not there anymore, or at least has lessened. But share with us some of the experiences that your family has had living in Canada.
Well, you know what? The thing is this: the American discourse is so large that it almost overwhelms what is happening in Canada. Unfortunately, the Black people in Canada continue to experience systemic racism at all levels. It's happening right now as we speak. As a matter of fact, the director of education for Peel District was dismissed late last year because he came out on national television. I think he was just caught off guard, and he said, well, we have to apologize to our Black students and our Black population because we have been very unfair to them. And we have they stream Black children into programs that are, they're not university, they don't have a university pathway. It's almost as though when you graduate, you can't attend college, you can't attend university, and they've done this on purpose. That's why he apologized for it, and he was caught off guard, and of course he was fired because such a thing should never be happening. And I'm glad that he said it because it shed some things to light. Those are our son. My wife had to do battle with the school board because they wanted to stream him. They told him they sat my wife down and told her that our son was not going to graduate. He was basically not good enough to make it to university. But this young man was on television maybe several months ago because of some initiatives that he has running nationally that he initiated, and it's part of his organization. And this is a person that they didn't expect. to even graduate. He is a sales manager at our company, and he's doing very, very well. So these things are going on, and that's just our story. My wife was spat on in school for being Black, spat on and insulted. I have been told that, oh, you look clean for an African. Okay, I've been told that. I do business. We have, by the grace of God, a multi-million-dollar company. But when I go in, I had a client, an Asian client, say to me, to someone who works for me who happens to be Caucasian, he said to me, go tell your boss. He just, and I don't blame him, right? But his mindset was such that he didn't expect that I could be the CEO of a company that is doing a project for him. So these are things that we experience on a daily basis. Even Mayor Tory, John Tory, who is still the mayor of Toronto, they conducted some studies on police brutality and mistreatment of Black people. So the police, the OPP commissioner, talked about a study that they did. And yes, Black people are being discriminated against. The City of Toronto Police, the government of Ontario conducted a study, the City of Toronto. So it is everywhere, and it's been documented, all right? Black people in Canada continue to be oppressed and suppressed.
Why is that? Because Ontario, where our program airs, it's not one predominant race. It is as multicultural as it can be. And people from all over the world have come and immigrated to our great nation, and a whole lot of them live here in Ontario as well. And they don't always understand, because they haven't been here, many of them have not been here long enough to know what the history has been. Or perhaps, this is also unfortunately true, many people don't take the time to see what's happening outside of their world, because they're busy in their own pursuits or whatever it is that they're busy with. What would you like to tell us, or from your point of view, why is it that this type of discrimination, let's call it what it is still happening? At a time when people are a lot more aware, and Canada takes pride in being a tolerant nation. We are known as people who are kind and compassionate all over the world. That is our reputation. So why would some people, and whoever they are, we're not going to say all people are like that, because that would be a logical fallacy, but there are some people who have chosen to allow their prejudice, for whatever reason, to be directed at a group of people. From your point of view, share with us, why do you think it is?
Well, thanks for that question, Molly. The thing is this, we have white people that work for us, Indian people, Chinese people. We do business with many different peoples, and we have friends of all people groups. And I'll tell you this, when they know us, all right? So when they see us, they see people, that's it. Okay, yeah. Now, the issue is that there is a discourse that is present that people, there's something called, they call it white privilege. I have commentary around that, but we're not gonna go there this evening, which has made it so that being white, for instance, has been normalized. And then every person else is judged against being white. So therefore, and you see, you find this thinking, it's an academic material, it is in movies, it is in school literature, and all of that. So I'm taking a master's degree in education, all right? Not because I need it, it's just I wanted the knowledge. So I'm doing a master's degree in education. And in all of, it is everywhere in our studies, right? You read about the Black experience written by white people, most of the time, predominantly, okay? The way I liken it, Molly, is this, right? If if you were if a woman got a phone call into the police station because her husband was beating her up, okay, when the police comes, does the police ask the husband or the wife, who is the wife is battered, the husband is carrying a baseball bat with blood dripping on it, who does the police ask the question of what happened? Who do they rely, whose testimony do they rely on? They should be relying on the woman's testimony, not the man who came to answer the door. What has happened?
Absolutely.
What has happened is Black people were not the ones who imprisoned and enslaved themselves. They were enslaved by the white people that came and everybody else. All right. So the story that is written in the course material in schools and in books and being shown in movies, it is stuff that was written by the same people who were the causes of the problem. All right. So it goes in the books and it says that Black people were slaves and they had slave masters who were white. But the truth is this, Molly. Let's call it for what it is. Black people were not slaves. They were enslaved, but they were not slaves. Because the thing is, you know, foreigners came to Africa. They were well received, and they said they came in peace. And then when the Africans went to sleep, they were chained and put into slavery, and their wives were raped, their children were killed and murdered. They stole their resources. Now, when a person lies, steals, and murders and rapes, they're a rapist, liar, murderer, and a thief. That's what they are. But the same people now change the narrative. They write the history books and don't tell the story for what it is. Ask an African, ask the woman who was beaten by her husband to tell you what happened. Don't ask the husband. So the textbooks that are there were not written by the people who were oppressed and suffered from this interaction. And it's saying that Black people were slaves and they had slave masters. Africa is the poorest place in the world, yet their countries, their large companies, they've never left Africa. They keep sucking the resources. Now, please, I'm not saying this because I am upset or angry. I'm simply stating truth so that people who are wondering why a Black History Month is necessary, why Black people continue to rise up and to say, we're not saying we're the only ones that need to be heard, but we're just saying, from me, as a Black person doing business, Molly, I don't want handouts. I don't ask the government for anything. All I ask is that you should get out of my way. Let me be,
Now,
that's it. Just let me
okay.
be me so that I can compete with everybody else. That's all I'm
And
asking.
so, as much as we need to talk about this and also condemn it and reject it for what it is, because all human beings are created equal. That's what we believe. That's the premise of life. It doesn't matter, what's the shade of your skin or the color of your skin or the country of your descent, right? This is the premise on which we have built our world and our society, that all human beings, it's not our opinion, it's the opinion of our Creator, that He has created all of us equal, right, in His sight. And in fact, we know from the Bible that God has created each and every one of us. That's why we have so much value. And that's why we should never, ever look down upon anyone, leave alone, enslaving them.
But you see, Molly, that's the thing, though, right? You talk about the people in today who were not necessarily there to perpetrate the injustices. But the trouble is, we're not even talking about 400 or 500 years ago. We're talking about today, because there are many people, Caucasian and other people too, who are they formed ideas about who Black people are simply by virtue of a history in the books that they study at school and in the conversations that they have, which seem to say that Black people are not worth much, that they're not smart, they've not contributed anything. But the truth is, the contributions of Black people were kept out of the history books on purpose. So you have people here who are living thinking that Black people have never accomplished anything, they're not worth anything. Of course.
And I'll be the first one to say, and so will any reasonable person say, that that's just wrong. right? That's not how we write history. History is you record, whatever is the contribution.
That
Yes.
that would be great if that was what happened. But the truth is this, that our contributions were kept deliberately, not by accident, intentionally out of the discourse. You see, so this is what has happened, and the folks that are here today who may not have contributed to what happened 500 years ago, they, guess what? They are benefiting from their pedigrees and their great grandparents and their foreparents acquired for them. Because the truth is this: the resources Africa fed the world based on resources. It continues to do so even today. If you were someone back there, my great great grandfather may have been entrapped, his land stolen from him. And this is what happened in South Africa as an example. There are people in South Africa today who used to be somebodies if you went down their lineage, but today they are nobodies because the land is owned by some Dutch settlers who own hundreds and hundreds of acres of land, and they now have to work for them. So while the great great grandchildren of those settlers may not have contributed to apartheid in South Africa, their children are benefiting from it, and the children of those who were enslaved, they are suffering.
There are a lot of people. As I said, our program airs in Ontario, and Ontario is a very, very diverse community. People from all over the world have come to make Canada home, and a whole lot of them live in Ontario. In fact, a lot of people don't know this. There are more consulates in Toronto than there are in New York. That's because there are more nations that are represented here in this country. So why I bring that up is people who have come from other parts of the world, who have come to Canada to make Canada home. Many of them get a little confused and concerned about when they hear, that only Black Lives Matter, or just say Black Lives Matter. And they feel like, why would you say that? So give us a context of this. Why do you think it is an imperative for everyone to hear this in sometimes in a very loud voice?
The reason the Black Lives Matter movement came about was because they were talking even on the news, even today. The Black population is 3% of the total population of Canada, and it is about I think it's about 40% of the incarcerations in our jails. How does that make sense, right? It was Black children who are in Canada who are expelled from school more often, who get penalized more often, who gets they get punished in school more often. It's always the Black children. So as a Black parent, my son said to me the other day, Dad, when are we ever going to be able to just breathe and have rest? When are we ever going to rest? We're fighting harder than everybody else. When I drive a car, I have to wonder if I'm going to be stopped, or if my son drives my car, he wonders if he's going to be stopped, and because they have been stopped before, right? And then they ask you for an ID, and then you give them your ID because you're trying to tell them, I've done nothing wrong, and then they keep it in the system, and now you are a person known to the police. This is what has been happening. This is what has been happening in Canada. So when, as a parent, I want to say, guys, come on now, right? My life matters as a person as well. I'm not a second-class citizen. I'm not a criminal. I'm just a person trying to take care of my family. So the cry that Black Lives Matter is a cry to the people that, guys, listen, look at what is happening to us as a people. There is no other people group outside of our Aboriginal people in Canada who have been the police say it, the OPP say it, the government of federal government, provincial, and the municipal government of Ontario, they all acknowledge. So what the Black Lives Matter movement is saying is, guys, please, we are human beings too. Our lives matter. It's not because there is no need for white people to get out there and say white lives matter. They're not being shot all the time, being killed by police officers. They're not, there is disproportionately more harm being done to the Black community because of systemic racism and all the things that are going on. So the cry is just that, guys, we are human beings. Just look at us. We're not animals. All right. That's what that Black Lives Matter movement is all about. It is not to suggest that only Black Lives Matter. There was a time when my wife and I did business in Chinatown. I went places in Chinatown that some Chinese people in Chinatown couldn't get into because we had those kinds of relationships. Every life matters. You spoke about the Bible. In the book of Galatians, it says that we are all equal, men, women, whether you are tall, short, fat, dark skin, light skin, we are all exactly equal. That's all we're saying, Molly.
Thank you for clarifying that, because as I said, for people who have come from other parts of the world where they have not been here long enough to know some of this stuff, number one. Number two, once you come here, you put all your energy and focus into getting established because so much needs to happen. And so they don't take the time to look at all of these things. This is a time for people to focus on their lives, to see, if there is injustice, disproportionate injustice that is happening to a community. That's why Black Lives Matter, because not because they're better or is more superior, they're just like everybody else, but right now, especially in the month of February, we should stop and look at it, and so that we can stop this from happening at every level. Whether it's on the job or on the subway, you see someone who's being treated badly. That's where you need to just stop and say, you know what, this is wrong. And sometimes that's all it takes, right? And then hopefully these conversations will continue on dinner tables as well from this point onward. That would be something that I would like to see happen. And we know that our viewers are like that. They're very responsive and they're very responsible. Because for all the years that we've been on the air, we have always encouraged everyone to be good and kind to strangers, right? That's how we make our world a better place. So thank you so much for being here. And on behalf of our viewers and our family, we wish you a great Black History Month. And thank you for coming and sharing some of these very, very difficult stories with us. And as I said, I personally had never heard some of these things. So thank you for sharing them with me as well as my viewers. And together we will find a solution and make our country, that's what we can do, our country, a better country for everyone to come. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Molly, for the opportunity. And my hope is that, like I said in the opening, that we don't ever even need a Black History Month again. Thank you, Molly.
This is Jay Banerjei, your real estate agent and investor advisor from RE/MAX. What has happened? There is a severe contraction of the number of listings in the Toronto area. In December, across the country, there were only 100,000 listings on the MLS system across the country for sale. That's it. What happened is, for example, in Oshawa, east of Toronto, a house listed for $550,000 is selling for $800,000. That is crazy. It's not sustainable. People are paying it for homes they would not even look at. Some people are going north even further if they can. Not everybody has that luxury to go to Port Perry, to go to other areas where they could find a home for $700 and pay $720 and be done. You know what? Those of us who live and work across the GTA, I know there are GO stations, subways, really well laid across the GTA, which is going to benefit you. What do? How do we handle this madness? How do we handle when there are 32 offers on a property that's on the market for $1.28 million and it sells for $1.6 million with 32 offers and 200 showings? Friends, we all know whether you're a buyer or a seller, real estate is a great opportunity. If you are a seller, you just call me. We have a plan, bar none, to help you sell the property under the same circumstances. If you're a buyer and you don't want to go through that multiple offer, crazy bidding war, I have a solution for you. I have exclusive listings off the market in condos and townhouses that you can buy that will keep you protected from the bidding wars. I have exclusive assignment condos for $500,000 in Scarborough, East York for $550,000 for a 2-bedroom, all with parking. Or I've got 2 really good projects. You're going to see them on the screen. Quickly, do you want to buy a detached home, $1.5 to $1.9 million? I have something really exclusive. I have platinum access in the east end of Toronto that you can get a detached home outside of the bidding war. But you must call me now. You're going to see that on the screen. You'll see it below, listed, marked right down. Scroll down. Detached home, 1.5 to 1.9, 2,000 to 3,000 square feet, no bidding war. Right from the builder, with a low deposit, not a big hefty deposit to hold it for you. Or, have you ever thought of buying a townhouse, investment or otherwise, on the waterfront, Port Credit, Mississauga, 2 minutes from the port, from the go, 2 minutes from the subway? It's fantastic. You've got the waterfront property right there, the yacht club. And guess what? I have a few townhouses left. These are like 1,500 square feet, give or take. Some have rooftops, some on the ground floor. But guess what? 2-story. You can actually buy them, no bidding war. And guess what? Here's the best part. You can buy these with 5% deposit. We only have a handful left. If you want to buy a townhouse, modern, brand new, ready in about 2 years' time, and you only want to put down 5%, no bidding war, I have direct, exclusive access to the builder. These are non-advertised, not on MLS. You will not see these properties advertised anywhere. I have a solution for you. In addition to that, I have 2 beautiful condos for assignment right in the heart of Toronto, $499 and $559.9. Take a look at the 2 projects. Take a look at this. You know what? Toronto real estate, they talk about Toronto area real estate is back on full on madness. I say to you, Toronto real estate agent Jay Banerjei is full on with solutions for you. Scroll down, click, push the button, call me now. I'm here to help you. 647-273-1119. Call me now.